We are coming up and we're waiting for the sending data to turn to green streaming. And let's see, we're waiting for Facebook, waiting for LinkedIn. Oh, we got one, we got two, we got waiting for YouTube. Here we go. YouTube. All right, let me play the music. Let me make sure everything's up. And here we go. All right, Leslie, join me. Let me see those dance moves.
So you want to be a cool kid?
Are you a cool kid? You hanging with the insect? You're hanging with me. Looking real. Cool and fine. Casting your net.
So you want to be.
Bop, 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 bop. Thank you very much to my good friend Serge Hoffman, musician and former colleague in the tech world. And he wrote the music and does the vocals for my song, So You Want to Be. I'm Bonnie D. I'm very happy to be here. This is Cool Dude number 34. I've known him for a couple of years. His name is Leslie G. Last name is Grigg, Grigg, if you want to look him up. He's a very special person and a very cool dude. Leslie, welcome. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing great.
Good. You know something? Every time I see you, I get hungry. Do you know why? Leslie, come a little closer to your mic. I want to see a little bigger there. There we go. Yes, I get hungry because your family is very famous. You want to tell everybody before I do the formal introduction? What are you famous for?
Well, has anybody ever heard of tater tots?
I have. Mommy, can we have tater tots tonight? Go ahead. Yeah. Who invented tater tots? Where does that come from?
My uncle Nephi Grigg and Golden Grigg.
How long ago?
1952. Actually, the Ore-Ida Food Corporation was founded in 1952. Tater tots were invented about 1953.
Something tells me that's an important year in your life too, but we'll get to that.
I was born in 1952. In fact, I'm birthday buddies with my great uncle Nephi, who invented tater tots.
Lovely, lovely. That's a nice person to be a birthday buddy with. There we go. Are you ready for me to do my opening?
I am.
Okay, let's see where we're going to go with this. Everybody listen up. You may know us well, Bonnie D and Leslie G too. Seasoned in life, we love what we do. From socials, channels, virtual embrace, we love sharing insights in this special savvy people space. Now here on We Dish, we're here to play, lightening up life in our uniquely fresh way. Welcoming Leslie G, a truly cool dude. Here's my rhyming intro. He'll add more with attitude. The story of Leslie G, an innovator to his core. When Bonnie welcomes Leslie, we'll soon find out if there's more. Here we go. Tots, Tales, and Legacy with Leslie Grigg. He started out small, and tater tots are his gig. Born May 6th in 1952's flair, with Willie and Uncle Nephi in the birthday air. From downy roots to dreams so wide, Leslie G's a cool dude with Idaho pride. With Union Pacific in his dad's early game, then Ore-Ida etched into the family name. Vending machines at just grade 4, little less ran chips and soda galore. Leslie loved his history and money class. He flew through high school with brains and sass, that's a good word, to Germany next on a missions call where Deutsch still rolls with no stall. From BYU halls to catalog tomes in Harold B. Lee's archival domes. A BA in history education in tow, but finance, not libraries, lit Leslie's glow. Married to Lana, a love so true, 4 kids, 13 grams, their legacy grew. Though library school didn't strike a chord, the stock market's rhythms Leslie never ignored. With Hutton, then Merrill, Leslie found his track, helping others build their financial stack. But deep in his heart, one question stayed hot. What happened to fame of the famed tater tot? Why no museum? Why no feast on a plate? Why not honor the tots that always taste great? With Cousin Steve, Leslie drew a bold map to bring the Grigg name right back on the rap. A festival grew, then in Idaho Falls with music goodies and memory calls. Memory, memory. The Idaho Potato Museum joins in the cheer. Cheer! The Griggs brothers' legacy now shining clear. Now documentaries with praise that soars, Rolling Stone shout-outs and media doors. Leslie's mission beyond savory snacks to protect your tots from harmful attacks. Leslie now dreams of 1 million fan club fans, tots in hearts and tots baked in pans. 70 million consumers he hopes to unite to stand for goodness, love, and what's right. So I welcome this dude with stories well told of family, of flavor, of good causes bold. From humble Idaho to fame's bright spots, raise your forks high and pass the tater tots. With commission and passion, with commitment and passion, with takes and tots well spun, Leslie G is a cool dude who shines like the sun. What'd you think, Leslie?
I'm just about to tears.
Do you recognize this person? I'm going to
What a
finish.
treasure.
I'm glad. And here we go. We're here on We Dish, chatting on life's score, culture, music, and of course, food, and oh, so much more. Join us live or on demand, day or night. We won't be here. That's what on demand is for. And enjoy our dishing with shared delight. Meet us for real in our live streaming glow. Your comments are welcome. Just play nice. We know who you are, you know. We Dish, Too Saucy Dame and Cool Dude too. Today, Bonnie D and Leslie G dishing on life's fun in French pour vous for you. So what'd you think? All good?
Oh, wonderful.
I'm glad.
That's going to be one of my great masterpieces of in my diary. I mean, that is so cool.
I'm so glad. My virtual assistant Sylvie helped me, and she and I speak in French all the time. I will not send you the text of the rhyme, but I will send you a clip from this show if you like, and you can use it as a little roll-in somewhere, okay? Because it's my delivery that makes it so special. You know that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Anybody can read words on paper, but this is just very special. Leslie, I'm so delighted, and I have to tell you, when I met you at the National Publicity Summit a couple of years ago, I was thrilled because I don't usually get people who are part of a, shall we say, a well-known, famed family or something that is a legacy that is global, that is worldwide. I met some very interesting people, hundreds, maybe thousands through the summit for the past 10, 12 years. But when I heard Ore-Ida and I heard Tater Tots, I said, this is really cool. I think Steve, your cousin Steve, was on the show with you,
Yes,
wasn't
he
he?
was on the show with me then.
Too. You tell me he's kind of shy now. Is he just kind of, not
Yeah,
not
he doesn't enjoy being in the limelight. That's just him. He's pretty laid back. He's a good smart guy, good businessman, but he's out of comfort to be on TV.
Okay, well, I tell you what, after he sees you here, he might say, I want a poem too. I'm gonna put away the shyness and let's go get to Bonnie D. So you keep that in mind for him. So, Leslie, I've asked you, well, do you want to show the holy board first before we get
Sure.
started, before we do your music? I want to get to your music, but let's see. What is this we're looking? Hold it right there, right there. Good. Don't move. Tell us what that is.
So 1953, when Nephi and Golden were trying to determine what to do with potato scraps and waste from making frozen French fries, somebody decided, well, let's mix some flour and some water and some seasonings. And so they created this potato glop or slurry or whatever you want to call it. And then somebody else said, well, we have to have something to form it. We can't just put it in the bag and sell it. We have to have it formed. So somebody else thought, well, they drilled this board. This is a replica of the original board. And it's the exact same size, exact same number of holes. It's perfectly replicated. And so the original tater tots were then put through these holes, dropped in a deep fat fryer. And they didn't write records down there. We don't have detailed records of the process. And I have been experimenting in my home, and I find that if I put a backer board on this and put the slurry in, it works the best.
What is a backer board? What is this?
Oh, I just took a piece of plywood and put it on the back and laid it on the floor, on the table.
And how did they get the perfect holes? Was that done with a lathe or with a drill, or what did they use?
Just hand drilled.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think they had lathes back in 1952.
Okay, I didn't take shop in school. I wouldn't know. Okay, very interesting. And how many tater tots are on a typical board, the real board?
Well, in today's holy board, if we want to go that far, is manufactured in Idaho Falls by a company called Idaho Steel Corporation.
Mm-hmm.
And the Idaho Steel Corporation Next Gem roller produces 8,000 pounds of tots per hour.
Okay, stop the presses for a second. 8,000 pounds an hour. Wow. Sold all over the world, right?
Yes.
Impressive. Thank you for holding up the board. That's actually quite beautiful. Very, very nice. Thank you. Let's get to your music. I contacted you. I said, Leslie Grigg, Leslie G, I think you're a cool dude. I remember you from a couple of years ago, and I said, you and I have been in touch through LinkedIn, I think through Facebook recently, and I said, there's a cool dude I want to get to know more about. So, do you have some cool dude music you want to talk to us about, Leslie?
Yes. Let's see. I was trying to remember. Oh, music. What my music was. Oh, let me think. Oh, I kind of got um distracted here by your poem. Just a,
I'm flattered. Now find the music. You got it? You got a
okay.
lot of.
Got it.
Okay, good. Go ahead.
Got it. Okay. So the first one that I wrote down is Take Me Home by John Denver.
Okay. Why is that? Do you like it? Is it important to you? Did it influence you? Give me a little background.
I like the music, the tune. I am a fourth generation Idahoan. I grew up with a typical Leave It to Beaver family, and home is just always been a very comfortable place for me. And I
I
think that's why I think that's it just connects me with my home and my family, which have always been very integral part of my life.
okay. What's another song? And John Denver. Everybody likes John Denver. Another
The
song?
other one I have is Take a Chance on Me by ABBA.
Oh, of course. Of course. Okay. Take a chance on me. Yeah, I don't want to try and sing. I ruined the show. That's interesting. And why is that important to you? Why do you like that song?
Uh, so I spent 45 years trying to convince people to take a chance on me as a financial advisor.
Okay.
And it was a dream. I mean, I didn't discover that I was in my hobby until I'd been there for about 4 or 5 years. But by the time my 45 years rolled around, my wife was begging me to retire.
Okay. And what did you say when she begged you?
I said, "Well, what will we do?" And she said, "Well, we need to figure that out." And so in the last 2 years, we figured it out. Tater Tots Foundation became my passion, and we are now here to help my daughter put her life together. So uh, life is good.
Good. Give me a couple more songs. What else have we got?
Okay, the next song I have is "Keep the Customer Satisfied," Simon and Garfunkel.
I never heard of that. Can you hum a few bars?
No, I can't.
That's cool. Maybe that's not cool, Leslie. Okay, what is it? I have to go
So
look
I,
that
I
song up.
just yeah, I was looking at my songs, and I Simon and Garfunkel have always been one of my favorite artists in music area, and so I just was looking through all of their different songs, and I thought, well, this is the one I really like the most, and I like the title, and because again, as in the work that I've done for my life, customer always comes first.
Supposed to anyway. Okay. There you go. If you're smart, they do. Yes, yes, yes. You got another song? One more?
And then Sounds of Silence.
Oh, you're trying to tell me to stop talking.
No, the reason that Sound of Silence is so important to me is
Simon and
because the
Garfunkel.
place where I find the most productivity in my day is at 4 o'clock in the morning, and everything is silent, and I can be productive. I do more between 4 and 7 a.m. in the morning than I do the whole day.
And what time zone are you in, if I may ask? Where you are right
Right
now?
now in Central Time Zone.
Okay. So part of the world is overseas, the world is already late in the day, and part of the United States is still asleep, and some is just waking up. So you've got quiet. I used to find working very late at night very good because I say the world is silent, exactly what the song is saying, the sounds of silence. And I found that when I know there hopefully won't be any emails coming in, there won't be any messages, there won't be any phone calls. It's just a time when focus, right?
Yeah, I developed a pattern. I started getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning when I was 16 years old. And it's just a
Hmm.
pattern I maintained for my whole life.
I wake up at 4 many mornings, not on purpose. It takes me about 2 hours to go back to sleep. And you know what my trick is to stay busy, not just to lie there. So I have 50 games on Words with Friends with about 10 different people, 20 with a woman named Lynn in the UK. I think there are 5 games with somebody who calls herself Maddie the Great. I have no idea who she is. One with a man named Jason in Southern California. I have 8 with him. I now have a game with somebody named Steve, and 3 with somebody named George, and somebody with name somebody who's in Florida, who's a cousin of my friend George, who's in New York. Lori, and I think that's it. So I know I could almost always go on my iPad in bed and just keep my brain busy, Leslie. Just
Yeah.
looking for patterns or looking up words. Yes, we do use word lookups, and it will after a while just bring me down. Just bring me down. Just calm me down and whatever. I'm not panicky, but just bring me down to a place where my brain says, "Okay, put the iPad down, put the phone down." Turn over. We're going to get another 2 or 3 hours until your damn alarm wakes us up if you have an appointment in the morning. So that's what I do. So interesting. So you do it on purpose. That's interesting.
Yep.
That's very interesting. I think a lot of people probably do. They just don't talk about it too much. Okay, you want to hear my songs?
Yes.
Okay, well, I've got a whole bunch of them, but I'll just rattle them off. So one is Hit Me With Your Best Shot, Pat Benatar. Yes, I've had people poke at me a lot. Respect, Aretha Franklin, Respect. I Will Survive by Gloria Gaynor. New Attitude by Patti LaBelle. That tells a story in itself. One of my favorites is Janis Joplin's Me and Bobby McGee. Remember that, 1971? And you know the line, freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. And I think that's the way I've been living the past few years is I have the freedom to say, I'm going to start a show called Cool Dude. Who cares? Well, so far 34 men are happy that I did. So there you go. Somebody cares, but I had nothing to lose. If it flops, it flops. If it's a success, and I'm having the time of my life now. You Don't Own Me by Leslie Gore. I Am Woman, Hear Me Roar by Helen Reddy. And then I have one that's not quite the time. It's called I've Had the Time of My Life by Bill Medley from Dirty Dancing. I'm still having the time of my life. And then the last 2 are Girls Just Want to Have Fun by Cyndi Lauper. Yes, I do. And Groovin' by the Young Rascals. What do you think of that? Any of those resonate with you?
Girls Just Want to Have Fun reminds me of my wife.
Really? What does she do? You haven't talked about, well, we mentioned her in the poem. What does she do?
She started teaching music when our kids were, my oldest daughter was 4 or 5 years old. She started teaching piano. And so she still teaches piano. She still has students, and she's 76 years old. She still teaches piano. She was a great tennis player. She was a 4 or 5 tennis player when we were,
Mm-hmm.
in our 40s. We still play pickleball together.
Very popular here. I'm in Tennessee.
Yeah.
They built a whole pickleball center indoors and outdoors where I am in this part of Tennessee. Very, very interesting. I watched them. That's about it. I used to be a racquetball player. That isn't happening anymore. But anyway, what do you like about pickleball, by the way?
I like the tennis. I loved tennis when I was younger and more, I guess just more in shape. But I could play 2 hours of tennis and feel somewhat refreshed.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not fast enough now for tennis. But pickleball, I can be fast enough and still play good.
Very interesting. I found racquetball very stimulating. I found it very exciting, very competitive. I only played with men, with male friends, and it got my game up very quickly. I didn't enjoy playing with women. I played with men, either somebody I was dating or somebody I knew from work, and I just had a really, really good time. I felt so accomplished, Leslie. If I could get that shot off the back wall, or I could get something in a corner that they couldn't get, or if I could run fast enough to get a phantom ball that they shot over in the behind me, I just loved taking it off the wall. There was I still have my racket, and I still have the goggles. You had to wear goggles, of course. Very good, interesting memories. So I tell you what, Now we finished with music. We're going to go to the part of the show called OTT, Off the Top, Fast and Furious. I'm going to pick a couple of topics. I sent them to you in advance, and I'm going to surprise you. So, first thing is, what is your creativity superpower? What would you say, Leslie? You've done a lot in your life. You've had several professions and careers. You're part of a family that was very creative in starting tater tots, right? That whole concept that wasn't yours, but you inherited it. So, what would you say is your creativity superpower today? And do you like it or not so much? What do you think?
I think my superpower is being really. I'm gonna say this about it. When I was in the 10th grade, we had a class, and we were supposed to pick an animal that we felt most represented our our drive or whatever. I picked the turtle.
Why?
Behold the turtle. He makes no progress until he sticks his neck out.
I like that. So, is that your creativity superpower today? Is where you stick your neck out?
Where I stick my neck out. And then my favorite quote from my Uncle Nephi is always bite off more than you can chew and then learn to chew it.
That's like don't ask for permission, do it and ask for forgiveness later, right? Very similar. I told my children that when they were growing up in their young 20s, which is past for a while ago. I said, aspire. Don't settle for that small apartment or that starter house. Go up. Go a little
Yeah,
bit higher. Find a way to make it happen. If it's your dream, it's your goal. If you love it, you will work harder and you will elbow to the grindstone or shoulder to the grindstone, they say, and make it happen. And they both did. And they both been very successful. But they never, I said, don't settle. Don't go down. Go up in your dreams and your goals. That's exactly what your Uncle Nephi said, right? Bite off more you can chew and yeah, more you can chew and then learn to chew it.
learn to chew
Very
it.
interesting philosophy. There's the famous quote from Yoda, do or do not, there is no try. I
Right.
think that's another corollary, and that's a way to live by, right? It's a light switch. It either goes up for on, or in my case, some of them go down. One way is on and one way is off, right? And that's it. Unless you have a dimmer switch, we don't talk about that. It's you're either doing it or you're not. If you're going to try, well, so what? You either do it or you don't. And I think what a lot of people miss is that doing nothing is a decision, isn't it, Leslie?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And people don't realize that. If I say no, I've made a decision. I've done something by saying no, which is I'm not going to do that. And that's the thing I'm doing. So, yeah, very, very interesting. Okay. My creativity superpower is talking to people just like you and just like my other 33 cool dudes and saying, I want to talk to people and I want to do it in a fun way. And I want to create something that I don't know if anybody's ever done exactly the way I do it before. And I want to take a chance because freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. So what do I have to lose, right? It's my time in the sun. I'm streaming, I'm doing what I want. And I get to meet such interesting people, Leslie, like you and so many of the other people who've been on Cool Dude. I get to meet you and I get to find out where you've come from and what you've done and what you plan to do and what your dreams and hopes are. And that to me is exciting. That's my community is the online community. So there. So what do you think? Cool?
I'm pleased to be a part of it.
You're very, very gracious. Let's go to number two question. Uh, how do you start your day? Is it a drink? Is it a breakfast? Is it early? Is it late? You're up in the middle of the night. What's your
It's
first
early
thing? Yeah. What do you
and
have?
it varies from day to day, but I guess one of my most frequent thing is avocado, egg, toast, and tater tot.
Tell me, do you make the avocado and toast or avocado toast?
Well, I just spread avocado on toast and slap an egg on it.
What kind of an egg?
Uh, or well, it's what do you call it? The yolk is cooked.
Okay, so it's sunny side over.
Yeah,
Sunny side with a hard yolk. Okay.
Yep.
I don't think we could do soft yolks anymore with all of the health issues with eggs and the price of eggs. So I make hard omelets. I used to love soft, runny scrambled eggs with just a little, not runny, but you're not goopy. Ugh.
But
But
I love a glass of juice, like either grapefruit juice or pomegranate and what's the other one? Pomegranate and the other red one.
cranberry.
Cranberry.
Does that power your day? Does that keep you going for
Yes.
a couple hours?
Yes.
Mine is an individual personal blender with the pulse switch. It doesn't have an on-off switch. You just push the little button, and it's 6 to 8 ounces of 1% milk, and a handful of frozen sliced strawberries, and one medium to sometimes large banana, fairly ripe, not mushy gushy, and not green because it leaves a taste in your mouth if you have a green banana. Not ripe, but chalky all day. Raw agave syrup instead of sugar, sometimes a little sprinkle of ginger, ground ginger or cinnamon, and sometimes a squirt of Hershey syrup or a little bit of dry cocoa. And I blend that for off and on, about 8 or 10 or 12 pulses. And then I take the top off and I put a reusable straw, the kind you use. Somebody said the pipe cleaner industry is alive and well now because we got to clean those damn straws. A straw, and then I'll take it at my desk here. And when I start work or whatever time that is, that powers me for a couple of hours. What do you think of that?
That sounds good.
I'll tell you something. Did you know that there's a problem with the production of high quality cocoa on the Ivory Coast? Have you been aware of that?
I did not know that.
Well, I went to my supermarket 2 weeks ago and I looked for the dark brown container, 100% cocoa, Hershey's unsweetened, and there wasn't a single carton there, a single box there. And I asked the store, and they said they're only carrying their own brand of baking cocoa, which is not the same. And I looked it up. It's a different process. One is Dutch with alkali. This isn't. I found out that there's a problem with the growing season in the Ivory Coast. And what I used to pay $4.29 for, I just bought one on Amazon. It was delivered yesterday. It cost me $18,
Wow.
including tax. So I contacted my daughter and I said, "Hey, you're in another part of Tennessee. Are you near a Target, a Kroger's, a Walmart?" "I'm not." "Could you find it?" And she had a box sent to me with 4 packages of Hershey's cocoa. So I'm set for, I use it to bake. I use it in my milkshakes. I use it in other things. So I'm set for about the next year and a half. So there you go. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, if I'd have known it was going to be a shortage, and this is going, Leslie, this is going to affect the high-end chocolate bars too. Do you
Yep.
know that? Chocolate syrup is made with a lower quality, lower grade, but the high-end chocolate bars are going to have a problem too. If I'd have known this 3 weeks ago, I would have bought 4 or 5 boxes off the shelf. If I'd have known they weren't good, and I bet they're hiding them in the back and taking them home, even though they told me there weren't any. We know it went somewhere. Okay, next question. Oh, uh-oh, phone just rang. Oh my goodness. It's let's see, it's Francis Ford Coppola, it's James Cameron, it's Shonda Rhimes, it's let's see, Robert Zemeckis or Zemeckis. It's oh my goodness. Yeah, it's all of those directors. They're all vying to write and do a movie, a play, or a TV show about you, Leslie G. So, who do you want to pick for your life story? Not the tater tot story, your story. And they're going to use my poem, by the way. They're going to use that as part of the script. So, who do you want to direct let's say a film or a TV show about you? What do you want to call it? And will it be a drama, a fantasy, a musical, a romance, a comedy, a sci-fi, a
Action.
thriller? Action. I left action out. I got to put that in my notes.
And I just love the Kathleen Kennedy and Favreau and their work. And I would rather have Chris Pratt I would rather be the Chris Pratt type of guy in an action movie.
Okay, well, what's your superpower going to be in an action movie, Leslie? How will it resemble you? How will people know it's really you?
um,
It's going to play racquet. They're going to play racquetball, right?
I
I
suppose
mean, pickleball. They're going to play pickleball in
pickleball.
your movie, right? Okay. What's the movie going to be called? Movie or TV show?
I forgot the title.
Make something up. Come on, we're just doing this off the top here. This is off the top. OTT. What do you think? What would
Off
you
the
like it to
top.
be called?
Um,
I would call it G. Leslie.
Hey, that's good.
Gee, comma Leslie. That's it. That's it. Chris Pratt. Who else will be in the movie? Will somebody play your wife or your kids?
Well, my grandson could play me. He's 24 years old. He's an a budding actor, lives in LA,
Ooh, okay.
and he looks more like me at his age than any of my grandchildren.
Okay. So, okay. And action. Would this be a movie or would this be a limited edition TV series? What would you prefer?
I think probably TV series.
Okay. 6 episodes, 8 episodes,
Yeah,
90, 48 minutes apiece. Fit in a couple of
yeah,
tater tots advertisements in there.
yep.
Yeah, I think that's what we would do. Okay. Who would you want to play the theme music for the show? You have a band in mind? John Denver's gone. He can't do it for you. Who would you like?
Hmm. Who's
Rolling
still
Stones?
around? Who's still
Be,
around?
Paul McCartney's around. Mick Jagger is around. Cyndi Lauper is around. Pat Benatar is around. Who
Probably
else is?
Cyndi Lauper.
Cindy, girls, boys just want to have fun. You want a version of that? There you go. Okay. Well, mine would be a musical comedy, and it would be named after one of the Donna Summer songs, which I didn't mention today. It would be either She Works Hard for the Money or On the Radio or Hot Stuff, one of those three, or No More Tears, Enough is Enough. And it would be a redhead, and it would be either, let's see, it wouldn't be Bette Midler. Somebody suggested that. It would probably be Bonnie Raitt, or it would be Reba McEntire. And it would be a limited series, 8 episodes, about an hour each, similar to yours, fill an hour. And it would be a serial about a redhead who didn't know she was funny until one day she was doing stand up and then she was doing appearances and she was working hard for the money in the background and she met various loves of her life. And it would be a musical comedy, drama, dramedy, something like that. What do you think? Would that work?
Yeah, that works.
Okay, thank you. And I don't know who would. I think I'd like Shonda Rhimes because she'll write some very zippy, very fast dialogue, like she likes to. Where you have to really watch. Maybe put the translation on the screen so that people can follow along because they talk so fast you can't follow them. Okay, one more question out of this segment, Leslie. Vacation favorites. Where have you been that you loved the most, and where do you still want to go?
My favorite vacation was our 25th anniversary when we went to London for the Wimbledon tournament.
Ooh, nice. How was that?
That was just the most memorable thing that I can remember. It was my very favorite professional venue.
Mm-hmm.
It was very well done, very classy, and very small. I mean, Wimbledon is a very small
Mm,
venue. I'm not sure, maybe seats maybe a 500 or 800 people, maybe.
that's it? I didn't
It's
know that.
small, at least
Really?
back then, and you can't have a bad seat, and so
No.
it was just, and you're up close and personal with with the game and with everything that was going on.
Who did
And
you see? Anybody famous in
Andre
the?
Agassi and it starts with an S, Pete Sampras.
Oh my goodness. This goes back a little bit, right?
Yes.
Wow. Very, very cool. Any women playing that day? Any women tennis players?
I don't remember any of them.
Okay.
I don't
Interesting.
remember,
Any other favorite trips you've had?
but I would go there again if we had the time.
Mm-hmm.
My I keep thinking I'd like to go to Africa, but we haven't made it there yet. That would probably be my next real big dream trip, to go to
Where in
Africa, to do a
Africa?
safari somewhere down in
Okay.
South Africa.
Okay. Very, very interesting. I don't travel anymore. My travels are all on the internet with people like you. I get to travel through your eyes and through your wish list. But my favorite place to be would be going back to Paris. I was there twice, many, many years ago, and enjoyed it very, very much. I love the food. I loved speaking the language. I love the museums, the churches, traveling We didn't do a tour. We walked everywhere. We took the buses with people who lived there. We shopped in the supermarkets. My daughter and I met there. She was studying in the south of France, and I flew over and met her. And we spent a week. I told people she was the spokesperson, and I was the banker. And we had a wonderful time. The other place I'd love to go back to is Neuchâtel, Switzerland. And I don't know if it's as charming and laid back as it was, but I was there on a tour when I was 19 years old that summer before I got married. And I stayed with a French Swiss family, Madame Vuga, I think, and I learned to drink 3 cups of tea with a little bit of milk and eat 2 croissants with wonderful homemade jam for breakfast because that's all they gave us
That's
until
all you
lunch.
get.
Main meal was lunch, and then they gave us a white cloth napkin you had to have for the whole week. I think I was there for 2 weeks. So imagine eating for dinner or for breakfast. For dinner was a fruit tart, usually like a big pizza
Yes.
with fruit. So imagine with a raspberry tart, and you're wiping your mouth with this white napkin, and it's got all the dots all over it, and you had to fold it properly on the table so that nobody could see what it really looked, or everybody's napkin looked the same. You got one napkin a week, and that was it. So. Yes, but I loved the ambiance, and I took the train into Geneva a couple of times. A little scary. I think it was 18. A little scary being an American all alone in a different country, going by local train all by myself, and it was a lot of fun. Neuchâtel was just gorgeous, Lake Neuchâtel, and it was just lovely countryside. We did some traveling, and I tried to study French at the university, and I found out that the American version of French that I was learning, and I was a top student in my junior high school, in my high school years. I even took a French language novel course in French fiction in college, but I was a very good. I knew all the idioms I could speak, and my host, Madame Vuga, was very impressed. But when I went to the university for these classes, Leslie, I found out their level of teaching was so far above and so more complex and complicated than what I had learned. And I couldn't hack it. So I spent the days sitting by Lake Neuchâtel, eating a chocolate bar and an apple, waiting for class to go out so I could go back to her house and have lunch. So that's what I did that summer.
And that was back then, at least, the typical German, Swiss, Austrian uh, meal schedule.
Yeah.
Light breakfast, heavy lunch, and very light
Yep.
dinner.
That
And
was it.
I lived in Germany for 2 years, and so I know where you're talking about.
You learned, yes, absolutely. Germany, I didn't go to. The tour included London and Copenhagen and Venice and a couple of other cities in Italy, and London and Paris and Switzerland. It was quite a tour. It was an 8 week experience, and it was wonderful. I still thank my parents in memoriam for sending me. That was lovely, really lovely. Good learning experience to see the world back in the day before it was so complicated as it is now,
Germany,
right?
they call them Brötchen,
What's that?
the little pastry, Brötchen.
Okay, I'll remember that. Thank you very much. All I know is those croissants were really, really good. And I learned to drink tea with milk in it because we didn't have juice and that was and I wasn't drinking coffee or she didn't offer coffee. So you learn to drink a lot of tea with a lot of milk and eat a lot of jam on your 2 croissants they gave you. And that was it. So Leslie, we're going to do some say what stories right now, wacky stories that hopefully not too many people know about, and we want to surprise them and delight them. So why don't you do one and then I'll do one. I'm going to show mine on the screen. So why don't you do your first one and then I'll do mine and then we'll go back and forth. How's that?
That sounds great. Bells inside the Carillon Tower, John Widman. Widman uses his fists to play the wooden keys because more force is needed to move the clappers into the larger bells. He said he welcomes visitors who want to make the steep climb up the tower for a personal look. And so this is in Europe somewhere, Netherlands.
Okay.
And the Frederick Carillon was built with reinforced concrete and granite in 1941 in honor of Joseph Dale Baker, civic leader who helped finance the Baker Park. The belfry originally held 14 bells. 9 more were added in the 1960s. Another 26 were installed in 1995. And so he uses his fist to play the wooden keys because more force is needed to move the clappers.
I am going to show the picture of that. I have that article. What do you think of that? There he is, right? Can you see
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
There you go. John Goodman plays the carillon in Belgium during a recent. Isn't this something? Look at those bells as they say, "Oh, damn bells!" Right there we go. Interesting. What
I
did you
love
like?
bell choirs. Bell choir is my favorite musical thing to attend.
And look at this. He says, "I've been known to play Happy Birthday for people and sometimes special requests. After Roberta Flack died, I played two pieces in her honor that were made popular by her." Isn't that sweet?
Hmm.
Yep. Very nice. Shall I show one of mine now?
Okay.
Let me get rid of this. Let me put this one down here. Hold on. Let me get this down. Go down, go down, go down. Come on, there you go. I'm going to close that one. All right, my first one is 8 slang words all Midwesterners know. Let me make this a little bigger so I can hide some of my screen. Come on, you. Let's go. There we go. Okay. So these are words from Midwesterners. Some of them I've heard and you probably have and some haven't. And there's a surprise that's highlighted in yellow here and you can see that.
Hot
So
dish.
Ope. Ope is hope. So we say, whoops, my bad. It's I ope instead of hope. Now, this is the one that really grabbed me, Leslie, and it was like somebody was looking over my shoulder and saying, Leslie's going to be on the show talking about tater tots. Well, of all the articles, I have about 100 of them. I've never seen one until this one. So it's called a hot dish. It's not the same as a casserole. A casserole is a main dish, a side dish, or a dessert. We know that. But a hot dish is a standalone main dish using all of the food groups, a cream of soup or tomato paste base, a starch, vegetables, and some kind of meat. And here's the kicker, and a crunch topping like tater tots, breadcrumbs, or cornflakes, and cheese. It's Wisconsin. Of course, it's cheese. Have you ever heard of hot dish, Leslie?
Yes, yes. Everybody in the Midwest, when they hear about my tater tot thing, well, they all mention tater tot hot dish.
Isn't that interesting? I had never heard of it. And here's another one you might be familiar with. Pop. I grew up in New York, so we talk about soda. Uh, we talk about if it's a Coke or a Pepsi or a root beer, but it's soda. When I lived in Oregon, they said pop, and in the Midwest, they say pop. And I understand that now in the South, anything that has fizz in it, they say, I want a Coke. And that's anything. So what do you call it? Pop, soda, what do you call it?
Usually pop.
Pop. Okay. We all know you betcha. We've heard, hey, you betcha. I think that's universal. I don't think that's just, don't you know? I think that's been popularized outside of Minnesota. What do you think?
I use you betcha. I used to a lot. I don't today. It's kind of gone by the wayside, but I used to say that a lot.
And what about don't you know?
Nope, not part of my vocabulary.
Do you remember the song, Don't You Just Know It? Remember that one?
Uh-uh.
Okay. Well, I do from growing up. How about a brewski?
I,
Brewski?
I've heard that word before,
Yes.
um, and now that you mention it, and um, I've heard it before, but I don't remember the details.
Well, it's a common word that's a combination of brew for beer and the pattern of Russian surnames ending in ski and other European names. The term made its national debut in 1977 on Saturday Night Live's Conehead sketch, where they said, "Yes, we were extremely upset to find 6 packs of brewski in the children's trick or treat bags." So another word is red beer. That's a brewski mixed with tomato juice and hot sauce. Can you imagine what that would taste like?
You.
I know. Ooh is more. It's a ooski, not a brewski. Then we have Naptown. You ever heard of Naptown in Indianapolis?
I have not.
Well, apparently it was very slow paced back in the early 20th century, and it was used the term and on a radio station, WNAP, WNAP. Ha ha ha. Indianapolis now is the 16th most populous U.S. city. I didn't know that. And home to the Indy 500 automobile race, so it's not sleepy anymore. And the last word I found is called puppy chow. You've heard of puppy chow?
Yes, yeah, Purina puppy chow.
Well, this is a different one. This is a snack for people, and it's Czech cereal coated with peanut butter, chocolate, and confectioner sugar. It looks like dog food, but it's called puppy chow in the Midwest. What do you think of that? Pretty cool?
Pretty cool.
Okay, why don't you share your next story, and I'll get mine teed up. Go ahead, you next.
Which came first, wine or beer?
I don't know. You tell me.
Well, the author of the article said that we don't really know.
Okay, what'd they think?
It's just hard to try to put a a beginning on either one because they found evidence of 4 and 5,000-year-old wine or beer um, drinks in China and all across the world.
That far ago, huh?
Yeah.
Interesting. So brewski goes way back. Nobody's talked about mixing wine or beer. Can you imagine how awful that would taste? But I bet at some frat parties they do that. What do you think?
Mesopotamians and Egyptians enjoyed beer and wine.
Interesting. All the way back. Somebody was stomping those grapes, right?
Yeah.
There you go. You ready for my next one?
Yep.
I think with your new tater tot program for helping keep tots safe, I think you'll appreciate this. What would you think of a 13-year-old girl who decided to use technology? She's a student, very far from getting her driver's license, and she invented an app to help people get a faster appointment at the DMV. And it's
Hey,
only
that
where
would that would be a cool deal.
she already did. She uses her STEM skills. Her name is Nandiala. She created an app called Drive It, Driveit. It matches you, our client, with a canceled DMV appointment based on your zip code, how far you are away, and the preferred date. So instead of waiting months for a DMV appointment, you might get one the next day, the next hour, or the next week through her app. Interesting?
Yes, very interesting.
Yes, I wonder if she's eating tater tots in the meantime. She knows that her parents were trying to get an appointment. It took 6 months on a waiting list, and she said, wait a minute, that's not too cool. Otherwise, they could have driven 60 miles to the north. And she said, I can't believe no one did this before. So she matches the people, and she says one client's appointment changed from May 13th to April 8th. He used Drive It. April 8th got a same day appointment, saving a month and 4 days. It's only in Texas right now, but she hopes to add other states as she's looking for funding. There's something for us to invest in. Eventually, the goal is to offer services nationwide to help people get their DMV appointments much easier. What do you think? Pretty cool?
That's pretty cool.
Yep, 13 years old. So
Wow.
much, so much for girls in STEM. I think it's a great idea. So what's your next one before I do my last one?
What did cars do before windshield wipers?
Oh, tell me.
They got dirt on their face.
That's the people in the cars. Yeah. So who did something about that?
Well, the windshields were installed on the streetcars in, I think it was in New York, before they were installed on the cars. And I don't remember her name, but she saw that. She thought that was a novel idea.
Wasn't
So,
she a tourist who was visiting New York and was on
yeah,
a streetcar?
Bettman. No, that was Carl Benz. Um, Mary Anderson.
Okay.
All Alabama entrepreneur Mary Anderson was visiting New York City when she had an idea while riding the trolley. The trolleys had windows and windshields. So the driver tried a few things, including opening both windshield panes to peer through them and getting out every few minutes to clear the windows. Inspired to solve this nuisance, she sketched out an idea for a window cleaning device, a hand-operated lever inside the vehicle that controlled a wiper on the outside.
I think that's pretty cool. And again, a woman came up with the idea for something. I understand there were a lot of opportunities. I think I have a picture here. I have a picture of the early windshield. Shall I show it? You ready?
Sure, yep.
Okay, let me show the screen. Let's see if I've got this one right here. We go. What did cars do before windshield wipers? And there's one of the early windshield wipers, or maybe that's a current one. And then here are the buggies that had a windshield, but they were obviously their faces were way high above that. And then here is the trolley, and I understand they had a split windshield, and the trolley driver would have to stop when they got mud and junk on the windshield, mud and dirt and sleet, and he'd have to go wipe it off by hand. And then you're right, Mary Anderson was the person who was, yeah, she invented one of the first ones, and her patent ran out before cars were ready to have them have more. Interesting.
Yep.
Poor Mary. Poor Mary. So there's a woman who said, we need to do something better. So I'm going to show you my last one here, Leslie. I thought since you're in the food business, you would appreciate this. 121.8 meters is 399 feet and 8 inches. There's a cake that's that big, Leslie.
Wow.
4,000 eggs, a truckload of sugar and cream. French pastry chefs completed a 121.8-meter long strawberry cake, which is claimed to be the world's longest ever made. And here's the picture. What do you think of that?
Wow.
Okay, this gentleman named Youssef El Gato. Gato is either cake or spelled differently or cat. Anyway, he brought together 20 chefs. It was 1.2 tons. It took a week. They put it out on tables in an ice rink in a Paris suburb. They used 350 kilograms of strawberries, 150 kilograms of sugar, and 415 kilograms of cream. I have no idea. There was a previous cake that was only 329 feet long, as opposed to this is 399. So they beat it by 70 feet in 2019 in Italy. Cake had to be at least 8 centimeters wide, 8 centimeters tall. The logistics were so difficult, Leslie, they used blow torches to heat the bowl for the cream mix. Can you even imagine? This gentleman, El Gato, wanted to set a record since he was a child. Residents went to see it, were given a piece to take away. They actually cut the cake. Is that something? It looks like it's just around, it's just the outside of a cake, right? There's
Yep.
not, because they're standing on the inside. So it's a border cake. Isn't that interesting?
Well,
4,000.
you couldn't make it much bigger. You wouldn't be able to
How would you transport it? How would you carry it? Yeah,
transport it or even get buy it to decorate it.
I know. And it looks like it. You see the strawberries on top
Mhm.
and look at the beautiful decoration. I wonder who cut those strawberries. Leslie, look at the sliced strawberries, how even they are, how beautiful they are. Wow, this is something. It almost looks like they're wearing roller skates in there. I'm not sure. It is in a skating rink, so maybe they had to wear roller skates to set it up. Isn't that something they call it a cake for the records? There you go.
Wow.
Yep, very interesting. Those are my stories. So, Leslie, our time is almost up, but if somebody came to you and said, "Hi, Leslie G. Hi, Leslie Grigg. I'm not in the tater tot business and I don't have a famous family and I don't have anything that's a big foundation to protect kids and I don't have anything history like that, but I think you're kind of cool. What advice would you give to a young person growing up who wanted to be cool like you, Leslie? What do you think?
Well, I believe that one of my favorite I'm a religious guy.
Okay.
And one of my favorite scriptures is John 10 and 10. And it says, I am come that you might have life and that you might have it more abundantly. And I think the abundant life is what I have and what I've strived to achieve. And I think that whatever we accomplish in life, if we're partnering with our higher power, we will be more successful.
Okay. Good to know. Thank you very much. Would you
Because he
please?
can do things for us that we can't do for ourselves, and
And
miracles in our lives. We had a miracle today with a tater tot.
there you go. There you go. My article I pulled out of a newsletter yesterday morning, late last night, and tater tots appeared. That was interesting, wasn't it? And I don't think it was a coincidence. It was meant to be, wasn't it, Leslie?
Yep.
It was meant to be. I'm going to be a believer after that. Leslie Grigg, I want to play the outro music. Don't go away. We'll talk for a minute. Anything else you want to say? Want to do a shout out to your family? Anybody?
Hello, family. I hope you can watch this fabulous production.
Let me play the outro music and let's just dance a little bit more. Here we go. Can you hear it?
Yep.
So you wanna be
So you want to be
a
cool kid,
hanging with the insect,
hanging with the insect,
looking real,
looking real, cool and fine. Wait for the drum roll. Here we
So
go.
you wanna be
Ba, 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 ba. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And Leslie Grigg, thank you so much for being my guest. And give my regards to the whole Tater Tot family, especially Cousin Stephen. If he changes his mind, decides to stop being shy, I'd love